I'm really trying to rationalize the signing, guys. I'm really trying to like see it from Mikel Arteta's point of view, Arsenal's point of view. What's the end game with this signing? And yo, for the most part, I can't understand it. I'm trying. I'm really trying my hardest. Yo, I can't though. I can't. Noni Madueke is set to join Arsenal from Chelsea for a deal worth upwards of £52 million. 5-year contract in place, England international in the US as talks enter the final stages. And I'm like, honestly, just going through every scenario, like where he could play, why Arteta would want him, what his future kind of has in store, how much better I think he could get, where he's going to... It all just kind of comes back to like, why? Why do Arsenal keep doing this? Why do Arsenal keep doing this? Is this a rivalry or not? This is, without including Madueke, of course, but soon to be included for £52 million, the deals that Arsenal have got done with supposedly one of their biggest rivals, London rivals, Chelsea Football Club. And I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the names. And I'm looking at what stage they were in their careers. And I just keep asking myself, why do Arsenal keep doing this? Why? Let's go through it. Let's look at the history between Chelsea and Arsenal largely in the Premier League era. We start with this one right here. William Gallas to Arsenal at age 29, already towards the downward spiral of his career. Not even just this though, the fact that Ashley Cole went the other way. I mean, this guy's one of the biggest laughing stocks in Arsenal's history. Captain who wore the number 10 immediately after Dennis Bergkamp. And his defining moment was sitting on the pitch after a last-minute equalizer against Birmingham. Lassana Diarra, squad player at best at Chelsea. 22 years old. I mean, yeah, what? Maybe you could see the room for potential. He was a squad player at Chelsea, man. It's not like Chelsea were dying to keep him. They had so many other options over him. Arsenal come in to save the day. Let's save Lassana Diarra. Yossi Benayoun, 31 years old. Loan. Come to us for a year just to get us over the line this season. Chelsea weren't playing him. Petr Cech, legendary keeper. Maybe the best keeper in Premier League history. 33 years old. And to be fair to Cech at that point, and to be fair to Arsenal, I do think we all kind of looked at Cech and thought, maybe he has a little bit more in the tank. But the fact that Chelsea were willing to let him go because they had Courtois, it's like, yeah, you can have Cech. We've already milked the best years of his career already. You can have what's left of him. And we saw what Cech was at Arsenal. David Luiz, 32 years old. 32. Willian, 32. Jorginho, 31. These guys all had the best years of their career at Chelsea. Chelsea milked everything they could from them and then handed the leftovers to Arsenal. Jorginho, to be fair to him, again, decent squad player. But we saw the best years at Chelsea. And then we look at the last 3, now 4. Kai Havertz. A player that Chelsea signed for what? Near enough £70 million, I think it was. 65, 70 million pounds. Scored the Champions League winning goal in the final, which is his defining moment at the club. It's one of the biggest moments in the club's history. But largely, his career at Chelsea was massively underwhelming. You were looking at a guy at Leverkusen who was considered one of the best young talents in the world. And at Chelsea, he was largely underwhelming. And yet, here comes Arsenal with a I can save him type of bid. Oh, he's not working out at you guys? Let me give you practically what you guys paid for him in the first place from Leverkusen. Minus maybe 5 to 10 million. We'll take him. And he's been okay at Arsenal. He scored goals, created chances, had assists, won games for them. Been okay. He's been decent. He's been good, right? But he hasn't been 65 million. And the fact is, you guys could disagree with me all you want. I don't really care. Because if he was that good, you wouldn't be looking for Victor Gyökeres right now to now play that position. And let's also not forget, Havertz was signed to play in midfield. He was signed to play deeper, not as a number 9. He had to play number 9 because the experiment from Arteta failed in the first place. Raheem Sterling, I mean, the less said about this one, the better. Chelsea didn't even get the best years of his career. They massively flopped signing him. But here come Arsenal on the final day of the transfer window, deadline day, last few hours, because they couldn't get their business done the way they wanted to, and said, oh, we'll take a punt on Raheem Sterling. He wasn't good enough for you guys, but maybe we can do something with him. Kepa, backup goalkeeper. I'm not even going to talk too much about this one. It's a backup goalkeeper. But now Madueke, another player that Chelsea bought a few years back for around 29, 30 million pounds, developed him decently, got something out of him, right? He was a decent player for them, at times good. And all of a sudden, here comes Chelsea to pay more than 20 million more than what Chelsea did. This is supposed to be a rivalry, but on the basis of the transfers between both clubs, it's really one club kicking the other's ass. And then this is multiplied even more when you look at the players that Chelsea have took off Arsenal. Ashley Cole. And I get the whole situation of Ashley Cole at that point. He was running down his contract. He wanted to leave. They didn't have much leverage in that situation. Then you look at Fabregas. I know they didn't get him directly off Arsenal, but that's supposed to be an Arsenal boy. When he left Barca, he was meant to go back to them. Arsenal had the chance to take him. Said, now we got too many midfielders. And Chelsea ended up taking the last few years of Fabregas' career where he was magnificent for them. So I look at this, and honestly, this kind of makes me sick, right? Because these guys are supposed to be rivals. Why are there so many transfers between these two damn clubs? I'm seeing David Ornstein say the two clubs have a great relationship business-wise. Why? Why do Arsenal and Chelsea have a good relationship at all? They should have no relationship. Forget about it. They should have no relationship. Chelsea and Arsenal should not be swapping players. They should not be doing the other a favor. They're supposed to be rivals, not just geographically, but also when it comes to the major honors. I'm sorry, this doesn't happen with United and Liverpool. Who's the last player United and Liverpool had? What was it? Paul Ince. Did Paul Ince go from United to Liverpool, or was there Inter in between? I think there was Inter in between. Gabriel Heinze wanted to leave United to go to Liverpool. Sir Alex said, over my dead body, I'll sell you to anybody but Liverpool. City, we don't deal with City. City don't deal with us. You guys can talk about Tevez. We didn't own him. He was owned by an agency. We would never sell to City. Impossible. They would never sell to us. What is this relationship between Chelsea and Arsenal? Please, someone explain it to me. Do they have dirt on Arsenal? Do they have something on Mikel Arteta that none of us know about? And that's why he keeps doing them this many favors. Why? Now, let's talk about Madueke. Because I actually think Madueke is a decent player. I think he's a solid to good Premier League winger. I actually think so. I'm seeing a lot of people act like Madueke to Arsenal is like doomsday is upon us. The worst signing in Arsenal's history. Relax. Let's look at everything with a bit of composure here. Let's look at it objectively. Madueke is a solid to good Premier League winger. He's not a scrub. He's talented. He has shown glimpses of really good potential. There is a player there. He's selected for the England national team. He's had a few decent performances of late. At times for Chelsea, he's looked like a really good player. He's solid to good. I wouldn't call him world class. I wouldn't call him a world beater. I wouldn't call him an elite level talent. But he's a good player with the potential to get even better. I think that's fair. But the facts are this. At Chelsea, he has played over the last, two and a half seasons, primarily off the right. At times off the left because of necessity, but primarily he's a right-sided player that likes to cut in on his left, shoot at goal. He's high volume when it comes to shooting, or even sometimes go on the outside and cross it in, right? He's strong, he's tall, he's fast, he's tricky. He's got a decent left foot on him, got a decent whip on him. Decent player, solid to good player. Like I said, I don't think I'm saying anything out of the ordinary here, right? And I think this season for Chelsea, I know they have a whole lot of wingers kind of coming through the door, right? Cuenda's set to come in next season. Esteval's coming in this summer. Pedro Neto had a tough year last year, but he's really looked good in the tournament this year in the Club World Cup. Gittins as well, too, coming through the door. Really bright, young left winger. But I look at Madueke and I think to myself, you would have got minutes this year. You would have played this year for Chelsea. Last season, he started 27 games. He was only fit for 33 of them, started 27 out of 33. Decent. That's pretty good, right? If you're available for 33 games and you're starting 27 of them for a Champions League level team, you're a pretty important player of that team. I wouldn't say like you're the star man, but you are a big attacking option for them. But when somebody offers you more than 20 million pounds in profit for a player who over the last 2 to 3 years has been decent to good for you and shown flashes, but hasn't necessarily lit the world on fire, I'm sorry, if you're Chelsea, you're going to rip your hand off for that tomorrow, especially because Chelsea are just going to go and replace him with someone better or with someone who they believe has equal to more potential. Cuenda's coming in through next season. They're already talking about Rodrigo, which we're going to talk about in a bit. It's a no-brainer for Chelsea. If you get offered 52 million for Madueke, who's not the most important player in your team, he's just a good attacking option for you, you take it and you go reinvest it somewhere else. So from Chelsea's point of view, this signing for them is a no-brainer. Now for Arsenal, there's two ways of looking at this, but I honestly think the more I think about it, there's only one logical conclusion to take from it. A lot of people have said one of two things. Either he's coming as purely squad depth for Bukayo Saka and an option across the front line, and if that's the case, they like the signing. That's one way of looking at it, I guess. The other way of looking at it is that he's coming to be one of the main attacking players in terms of either starting off the left or playing major minutes throughout the season. And the more I think about it, I'm sorry, there's no way it's the first. It's almost definitely the second. Because the third angle you have to look at it from, we looked at it from Chelsea's point of view, we looked at it from Arsenal's point of view. But the third angle we have to look at it from is Noni Madueke's angle. He is comfortable at Chelsea. He's on a long-term contract. He doesn't have to leave if he doesn't want to. A decent wage. Not crazy, but it's a decent wage. And he plays a lot of games for Chelsea. Now, with more competition coming in this season, that could have gone down. Sure. But he plays a decent amount of games. 27 starts in the Premier League for a Champions League level club, plus more games next season. He would have played for Chelsea this year. For him to leave Chelsea to join Arsenal, numerous things would have had to happen, or they could have all happened. He was offered an increase in his salary. An increase in your salary typically means an increase in your role. The second thing he was probably offered was a bigger role at the club. I'm confident Mikel Arteta has told Noni Madueke, you're going to be a bigger player for Arsenal than you are at Chelsea. Otherwise, why on earth would Noni Madueke leave Chelsea, where he already plays a decent amount, to go join Arsenal, where he's going to play less? No player thinks like that, unless he's being offered double, triple his salary. Why would Madueke leave a place where he's actually playing a healthy amount of minutes to go play less? It's not realistic. And in fact, it makes even less sense to think he's coming to play on the right as a backup to Saka because Madueke is Saka's age mate. They're both the same age. Okay, Saka's a few months older than him, right? But they're both 23 years old. And I'm sorry, I said it last video. There is no real situation where as a young, aspiring, talented right winger, you go join Arsenal Football Club. It's impossible. I'll tell you why. There's a guy playing in your position that has that position on lock until the day he retires. Bukayo Saka is the face of Arsenal Football Club. He's from the academy. He's one of their own. He's the best player on the team, and he plays your position. It's similar to Harry Kane the last 10 years at Spurs. There's a reason why the best backups they were able to get for Kane in that period were who? Vincent Janssen, Fernando Llorente coming towards the end of his career. Who else were they able to get in that period? Who was the Brazilian striker that they got as like a backup? He ended up going to Fulham. I can't even remember his name, right? They're not getting world-established backups or even like great backups because everybody worth their salt and talent knows if they go to Spurs, they're never playing over Kane. They could try and fit in alongside Kane, maybe on the wing in a position they're not totally happy with. They could be the backup to Kane. They could play in the cups. They could get minutes off the bench, but they're never starting, ever, until Kane decides to leave or retire. Same with Haaland at City right now. If you're signing as a center forward for City, you're either playing alongside Haaland, behind him, or in a different position. If Haaland's fit, he's playing the big games. So if you're Madueke, who again, I keep repeating this, has a healthy position at Chelsea, he's comfortable. You're not going to Arsenal to be Saka's backup. You're going there because you have not been promised, but you have been told there's a position for you to fight here. Either on the left, I don't know, maybe, I have no idea, maybe Saka's going to play in a different position, I don't know. But you're being told you're going to play. No one in their right mind who believes in themselves enough and has Madueke's level of talent is coming to Arsenal to sit on the bench. So this whole idea that, oh, Madueke is just going to come to be a depth option, I don't believe it. I thought of it at the time, maybe copium. I'm like, because again, I keep asking, why are Arsenal making the signing? The only reason it makes sense is if it's a depth signing. But ask yourself this as well too. Who was the last player Arsenal signed for 52 million pounds that came to sit on the bench, that came to be a backup? I'm sorry, it doesn't happen. Not for Arsenal. It's not this. We're not talking about City here, who signed players for 50 million and they like Nico Gonzalez. No, at Arsenal, they spend that kind of money for important players in their team. So I think it's a lot of copium from all of us, to be honest, to think that Madueke is just coming to, I don't know, shine Saka's shoes, and whenever Saka needs a break, Madueke will come in, and he might feature on the left sometimes, but he's just gonna be a backup across the. I don't think it's happening. I think that's a major copium. I think that's what a lot of fans are hoping, but I don't think it's the reality. And this is why I have an issue with this deal. At the beginning, I kind of tried seeing it from an Arsenal point of view. Why would they make this deal? But the more I think about it, I don't like this deal. I don't. Because going into this window, Arsenal knew they had certain priorities. Center forward is one of them. And look, they're taking care of that. I think the Madueke deal is completely separate to the Gyökeres deal. Personal terms have already been agreed with Gyökeres. And the news this morning is basically suggesting he's boycotting Sporting training. He doesn't want to play for the club again. He's already told the ownership that. Get this move over the line. And it's just a matter of fee for Arsenal. Get the fee over the line. That signing is going to happen, right? Madueke doesn't affect it. But we look at other rumors that Arsenal have been linked with. Eberiche Eze, Rodrigo. And I was of the opinion a week ago, if you can get Madueke and it doesn't impact those deals, by all means, go get him. The more the merrier. You can never have enough quality. And I stand by that. If you get Rodrigo and or Madueke and or Eze, or you know what, I would even say both. You need both. You need both of them more than you need Madueke. If you can get either of them or both, and then Madueke on top, by all means, go crazy. You can never have enough great players. But if this deal is intercepting or interfering with either of those two other ones, I'm sorry, guys, this is not great from Arsenal. This is not great from Arsenal. They don't need Madueke more than they need Eze or Rodrigo. They are crying out for quality on the left. They're crying out for a game changer on the left. For a guy with a little bit of a spark, with some X factor. And Madueke can offer X factor off the right. I've seen him off the left for Chelsea. He's not great. Again, I think he's a solid to good player on the right, capable of brilliant things at times. On the left, I'm sorry, guys, it doesn't work. We've all seen Madueke play on the left. Let's not now pretend like we've never watched the guy play. He's not a great left-sided player. Now, does Arteta think he can develop into a great left-sided player? I don't know. I'm not Mikel Arteta. But that's a huge risk to be taking when your team is so close to the finish line. Your team is right here. The finish line is right here. You're right here. And it's obvious what your team needs. This is the season. Just get what you need and get over the finish line. We've seen the Arsenal project. We've seen the journey. They've signed projects like Madueke before in different positions. This isn't the time for projects anymore. This isn't the time for Arsenal to be taking punts on players and hoping they can become something. Now, this is the time now for Arsenal Football Club to be signing established, world-class players that can take you from here to here. And on top of that, once you sign those players, then of course you always have time for projects. You always have time for players who you think one day could become even better. But those guys shouldn't be prioritized over game-changing, title-winning players. And I think, personally, Eze and Rodrigo take Arsenal from here to here. I think you sign one or both of those players, and Arsenal have a real chance of winning the league this season. I'm sorry, Madueke for me doesn't move the needle like that. He doesn't. Potentially, in a year or two, he continues developing and Arsenal have a really good player on their hands. Maybe. But Madueke is not taking Arsenal from where they were last season any crazy heights higher. I don't believe that. And if you do, fair enough. Maybe you have a higher opinion of Madueke than I do. But I don't believe it. And for 52 million pounds. Guys, I'm talking about projects here. Projects, you signed them for 20, 30, right? 52 million. That's not a project. That's a player that's coming into your team right now and contributing. So I'm seeing a lot of people annoyed about this deal. And one thing I want to say, right? We're talking about it from a footballing point of view here. We're all talking about Madueke's strengths, his weaknesses, what the club needs, what they don't need. This is all analysis. It's all critical thinking. Notice I haven't talked about Madueke as a person, his character, none of that. Some of the stuff I'm seeing on social media, and I know it's just social media, and I know idiots exist in every walk of life. But this hashtag, no to Madueke, I seen a petition the other day. Over 900 people signed it saying, stop Arsenal from signing Madueke. People criticizing his character and his work rate and his work ethic. This is now where you're losing your minds. I made a video a week ago after the tragic passing of Diogo Jota saying this should be a reminder for people that we dehumanize footballers way too much. At the end of the day, they are human beings that are really good at a sport, but they're still human beings. Don't forget that. And a week later, I'm seeing nonsense like petitions begging Arsenal not to sign a player, tweeting all over the net, hashtag no to Madueke. Guys, he's a human being. He has social media. I'm sure he's going to see this stuff. That's how you're welcoming a player to your club. By all means, show, I'm not saying you have to just eat whatever the club feeds you on the spoon. I'm not saying that. Be displeased if you want, but there's ways of showing your displeasure. These guys are not cattle. They're not like fucking cards on Ultimate Team. They're human beings at the same time. So that in my mind is crazy, right? It's crazy. But I don't understand the signing for Arsenal. Not in the context that I'm currently seeing it in. If this was a signing made towards the end of the window, after all your main targets were kind of brought through the door, by all means, go crazy with it. You had money left over. Madueke is a good player. He's going to improve you. He's a player for the future as well, too. But I'm sorry, signing a guy, and even if he was depth for Saka, 52 million pounds as depth. I'm really struggling to rationalize this. Now, if I talk about what I do like about Madueke, again, he's got a good left foot. I think when he can kind of cut in and buy himself a yard of space, that left foot can be a weapon. It can be devastating at times. He's fast, he's tricky, he's direct. He can go on the outside, he can go on the inside. Sometimes I actually wish he'd go on the outside more because I do find he's a little bit predictable at times. You know he wants to cut in. But he's shown to some effect, some devastating form at times, cutting down the right and putting a ball into the box. And when you actually look at Chelsea's attack over the last 2 years, Cole Palmer has been the guy in terms of end product, in terms of output. Nico Jackson follows up. And amongst a whole horde of underperforming wingers, namely Neto, Sancho, Mudryk, Madueke has probably been the most reliable of a pretty sorry bunch. That doesn't mean I think he's a better player than Pedro Neto. I think Pedro Neto, once he finally gets it going, like he kind of has this tournament, is a better player than Madueke. But based on evidence of what we saw the last 2 years, Madueke was the third most reliable player in that Chelsea front line. I don't think I'm wrong to say that. Again, I don't blame Chelsea for selling him because I think Chelsea can get better. And the concern now for Arsenal has to be this, right? Rodrigo is a target for the club. Rodrigo is going to leave Real Madrid this summer. I can guarantee you guys that. Guarantee it. But it's going to take time. This is going to be a signing that kind of drags into the window. But you've effectively now given Chelsea a bit of a free run at Rodrigo. Or at least like a run at him. Because you've just given them 52 million pounds on top of the money that they already have. They're probably more likely to sign Rodrigo than you guys are now. For me, a really bizarre deal. And I think this ultimately now, the final kind of person we have to talk about is Mikel Arteta. We talked about Arsenal, we talked about Chelsea, we talked about Madueke. Let's talk about Arteta. This has to be the season. It has to be the season. And I think now the clock is ticking even faster because this is a signing that the majority of the fan base are really struggling to kind of get their head around. I think Arsenal fans with Arteta, he has enough credit in the bank in terms of his entire rebuild at Arsenal that everything he kind of does is approved. And for good reason, right? There's no reason to doubt him. He let go of Aubameyang, the team got better. He let go of Ozil, the team got better. So when you make those decisions and it works out, you get credit in the bank. And Arteta has as much credit in the bank as anybody because of where he took Arsenal to where they are now. But last summer, I think his credit took a hit. I think it took a hit. That window was not good enough. Then on top of that, the way the club the team kind of declined from the current trajectory they were on. They were going up, 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 up. Last season was the first time Arsenal didn't progress. If anything, they kind of stood still, or if anything, they probably went down a little. That took a hit on his credit. And now this signing right here, it has to work out. It has to work out. Because if Arsenal this season, again, failed to hit their primary targets in terms of silverware, in terms of finishes in the league, and Madueke, a guy who was very clearly, by the way, an Arteta signing. Don't try and tell me this is an Arteta signing, bro. Arteta has co-signed the sign. He's went to the board. He's went to Berta and said, I want this guy. What do you think? He's a good player. Let's get it done. This is your signing. And if Arsenal this season fail to hit their goals, this is going to be one of those signings that Arteta, I believe, lives or dies by. Because if he's not able to get Rodrigo, or maybe even Eze, and Madueke was his guy, and he can't be the difference between Arsenal challenging for the league or being in and around that area and getting the job done, I'm sorry, I don't think people should be looking at Madueke. I think people will be looking at Arteta. And this season is huge for him. Huge. Because now you look at this entire side, down to the subs, they are all his players. They're either players he's embedded in from the academy, or they're players he's bought. Who's really left from who he kind of inherited? Who? I mean, Saka, I guess you can say, under Emery. Who else? They're all his signings. Raya, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, Calafiori, Zinchenko. I'm even talking about subs now. In midfield, Rice, Zubimendi, Norgard, Martinelli. He kind of really pushed through. Trossard, Jesus, Havertz, Gyökeres soon, Madueke, Saka, Nwaneri. Where does this leave Nwaneri in the pecking order, to be honest, by the way? Because he was primarily the Saka backup. Where does he kind of fit into all of this now? But this is his side. That's what I'm trying to tell you now. There's no more, let him get a few more players through the door. This window, after this window is over, you will be looking at a very expensively bought side. And I understand there's net spend and all that. Other clubs have spent more. But it's still a very expensively bought side entirely in Arteta's image. I'm sorry, the excuses now are gone. It's time to get the job done. And I'm not doubting him because I think he's a great manager. I really do. But signings like this, I think, are major question marks. And I think if this doesn't work out, there's no point in getting at Madueke. We know what kind of player he is. We know he's young. We know he's inconsistent. We know he has talent. But we know what kind of player he is at this current moment. If he can't be the difference between Arsenal challenging and winning, don't get mad at him. Someone else has to take the attention. That's all I'm saying. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about Noni Madueke. Do you like the signing? Can you see any validity in it? And where should Arsenal go through now? As they have to be the next to the door. Like, share, subscribe. See you guys very, very soon. Peace.